We got Korean back, although maybe not the whole time, but at least for part of it. But we're missing Phil, so we're still not a full crew. But hey, you know what? Baby steps. So today we're going to be covering a topic that has been plaguing the gaming community quite a bit recently, and that topic is
Delays.
delays. Exactly. Yeah. No, that was for emphasis on the delay part.
So-
That was part of the joke.
So what's next, Adam? I see you
Okay.
guys plan for games and stuff.
Well, I left that on there because I'm just lazy. I actually had a series of questions that, let's see, where were they? Where were my questions?
And Korean, I
Okay.
know that you are supposed to go within 10 minutes, so when you need
Yeah.
to go, just jump off.
Yeah, yeah, I'll let you guys know. It's
All
still
right.
entertaining and very relaxing to be here today, actually.
And we are very happy to have you here.
Me too.
All right. So,
Phil, wake up!
I know. So I had a series of questions here. I had the thing set up for games, but that's just me leaving it on the script for just in case. But I haven't used those in a long time. But of the questions I had, how? Because obviously right now we're getting out of the pandemic, and so a lot of game companies did say that this has really impacted the way that we're able to release games on time. I mean, that was part of the reason why Final Fantasy 14 had a lot of delays on their the patches as they were coming out and whatnot. But I mean, in the states, lockdown has. When did they come out of lockdown? A long time ago. I mean, how long ago did you guys come out of lockdown in Canada?
A while ago, a year ago.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So I was just wondering, how long do you think that companies are going to be able to use the pandemic as an excuse as to why things are being delayed?
That really depends because we're out of lockdown, but not necessarily employees back in the building. I don't know how gaming industry is, but I imagine that you need to have the team in the building. And here, at least in my branch, we can just work. This is my bat cave, and I'm here 24/7. I can work as much as I want. For, I guess, programmer need to be in front of a screen, but I don't know the interaction. Do they need to be in the building working with the team to coordinate everything? I don't know. If they can stay at home, there's no excuse. If they need to be in the building, that's way different because like even my company in the US, their office is based in Houston. Even they haven't reopened the offices yet. Even better, they just sold, like, or stop renting some locations, saying we have done so, without offices for a while. It's very expensive, in the middle of Tampa in Florida. Apparently, our employees are very happy at home and very productive at home. Let them continue. That saves us money and they still work. So we're good with that. So I don't know for the gaming industry how really it works.
No, I
What
know in
about Virginia, Adam?
Virginia, they've been out. I mean, how long have they been out of a pandemic? Or I'm trying to think with my parents. I feel like it's almost been or I feel like it's probably been over a year at this point,
Wow.
give or take. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I feel like it's been over a year. But I know, at least for gaming, there are. It depends on what you're doing. I know in Japan, one of the biggest problems that they had was they have a culture there similar to what we have here in Taiwan, where you have this little stamp. They call it a chop, and you have to stamp things. And because Japan was or is very bureaucratic, to get something approved, you have to get it stamped. And so I know one of the things that gaming companies were complaining about was that you can't work at home because you can't do something until it's approved, and you can't get it approved unless you take it physically to the office and have somebody physically stamp it. They couldn't do these online stamps. So they were starting to kind of switch over to allow for online approval because they were still very much in that kind of like paper and physical stamp culture. Um, but I know for depending on what you're doing, some things you can do at home, obviously, but I think definitely there are advantages to being in an office, such as if I'm in the art department and I create a character model and you're in the animation department and you need to animate it. If I'm uploading that to the internet on my personal internet connection, and then you have to download it from your personal internet connection, that's not going to be nearly as fast as if we just put it up on a company server that's just
Of
shared
course, yeah.
throughout the entire building. So, I mean, in that sense, yeah, it'll definitely slow things down. It's doable, but it would definitely slow things down. And also, it's not like the kind of thing where I can just, stand up, walk over across the hall and say like, hey, is this ready yet? I'd have to physically call you on the phone or email you or things like that. So I know it does slow things down, but it is certainly doable. But yeah. What about you, Korean? Anything to say on that, or?
Oh, sure. I mean, of course. I mean, the company I work for right now is a remote company. While we have two offices, we still have people in Egypt, in Germany, in Poland. I mean, and we do everything remote. And I mean, I'm the only remote person in Taiwan, which is why I had a meeting at 12 a.m. this morning, uh, which was fun because I literally laid in bed with the lights off and just listened. But yeah, no, I think for COVID, I mean, talking about where Adam and I live, where my brother lives in Nick, like my brother, the rule for his company now is 1 day a week and 4 days at home. We know, because I listen to tech podcasts, Google and Facebook postponed going back to the office until 2022. Apple's also followed suit, even because a lot of their employees were like, we don't want to go back to the office, we want to stay at home. I mean, even for the company that I work now, we had employees who were like, I don't want to come into the office, and then they just quit.
Yeah.
That's what happened. In my other sort of side gig as well, I had a lady I was working with, and she was an intern, and she was like, the company was like, we need you to come into the office in New York, and she was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then they just were like, okay, well then, if you don't want to come in, you're fired. So I think a lot of people love working at home. Like me, I would never go back into an office ever again, no matter how much money anyone paid for, because I love working at home. I love wearing t-shirts and, working in my underwear, for lack of a better word.
No
It's
details,
it,
no details.
it's comfortable, and it's relaxed, and you feel more at home. And with COVID as well, we know COVID's never going to end. In Taiwan, we've had 6 breakthrough cases where someone was double vaccinated with Moderna. I think there was like 4 people with Pfizer, and they got sick and they infected other people as well. So I think no matter lockdown or no lockdown, you're still going to have to be wearing masks. And if somebody gets sick, your company is going to have to. So, I mean, it's a risk company is going to have to take, gaming companies going to have to take. And I think for gaming companies, it's either you maintain the status quo of working at home and be safe, and then don't have to worry about losing productivity or people getting sick or being liable if someone gets into hospital and dies. I think it's far better to work remotely.
That kind of leads me to a question. I mean, this is pretty much the only news that I've really seen this week. Do you think something like Facebook's Meta is going to help with this kind of thing, with allowing people to work online and having this virtual offices and that sort of thing? Do you think this is kind of going to be the big thing in the future?
What do you
Either
think,
one of
Antoine?
you?
But honestly, I just saw that they changed their name to Meta.
Yeah. Well,
But
they didn't. Their parent company did. It's a weird system.
yeah, well,
It's like
well,
Alphabet and Google.
Yeah.
exactly what I want to say. Honestly, I don't know what this virtual thing you're talking about, but basically, I've been using Zoom or Skype or whatever, or Teams.
Basically like that.
Yeah, so well, it works. I know that it works, but it really depends on on the culture of the company as well. So, or the branch, as I said, I don't know how gaming works, and very likely you need to be next to other people to coordinate stuff. So, again, I don't really know how it works. So, yeah, I think we are really going into the future of having way more people working from home, if it is possible. You don't imagine construction workers staying from home, of course. So
Drones. I
really
mean, if they could
depend.
pilot
Sure.
drones.
Oh, yeah, okay, right. In any case, realistically, it really depends. It's really depends on the industry. It's
All right.
really industry specific, I imagine.
What about you, Adam? What do you think is the
I think it might be because the way they seem to be pushing meta is it's supposed to be kind of like a Ready Player One in the sense that if you've seen the movie or read the book, they have different worlds. Like in the movie, they talk about we have Minecraft world and we have this world and that world, and you can imagine that there are people that have just office buildings in the Oasis and they're not gaming, they're just working, but in the Oasis. And it seems like that was one of the things they were trying to push for was they were saying it's going to be kind of all encompassing, but everything that you have in one thing can transfer to everything else within the meta. And then also people can create their own content for it. So I could definitely see them creating like a virtual office space. And, when you're online, you just have an avatar sitting at a desk or something like that. But then somebody can just, go into a space and see like, oh, this person's online right now or they're not. In the same way they could just walk across the hall. And then with things like Google Docs and stuff like that, or like game streaming, they're talking about doing that sort of thing. I mean, eventually things might just move to the point where you don't have to worry about your own personal servers because nothing's being done on your personal computer. Everything's being done online anyway. So if I'm creating a model, it's being saved in the cloud. It's not being saved to my computer, and then I upload it to the network. It's like, no, it was always on the network. It was never on my computer. So I mean,
the idea of Chromebooks?
Yeah, so I could definitely see something like that being pushed towards, or that being the direction that we're pushing towards. I could definitely see that.
So I get it. Basically, it's like core games, but in more corporate environment.
It's like core games, but it's an everything environment. That's the whole point. That's why it's called meta. So it would be a corporate environment, but you can also use it for games. But you can also use it for virtual markets. It's kind of like Another Life in a way. Do you guys ever watch The Office?
The Office,
Oh
yeah,
God,
of course.
I
Okay,
don't understand that show.
Okay, but one of the characters, his name is Dwight, and he gets addicted to the game Another Life. But in the game Another Life, he creates an office, and in there he creates a character that looks exactly like him. And his character in the game sits at a desk and sells paper, which is his exact job. So he recreates himself in the game exactly, and then eventually he gets to the point where in the game he's saying that like his character is developing another second life in the game so that people in the game who are tired of their second life can go to a third life. But that's the kind of thing that like I think meta is supposed to be. Is it's if you want to have a store, you can create a your avatar or whatever. And if I'm a clothing developer, I create clothing and I create models of these clothing, and your avatar can walk in and they can try on these clothes, and if you like it, then you can order it from my store and have it delivered to your house. So I think that's kind of the direction, is kind of a cross between Ready Player One and The Matrix. I don't know. Obviously, it's not going to be nearly that level anytime soon. Maybe not even in our lifetimes, but I think that's
easily in our lifetimes. I think so.
Matrix level. I don't know, but
for sure. I mean, you already
plug it
have
into the back of your
8K
head.
VR. Oh no, not in the product, but I mean, as far as fidelity, as in looking just like the real way things look like right now.
Oh yeah, we'll probably get to the point where graphics are looking. I mean, there are definitely even times like looking at some of the Forza games, and you're like, what was it? There was a I don't remember what it was. There was a company and they were using pictures from one of the Forza games, and they thought that they were real pictures of the real cars, but they were from the game engine. And I mean, that's how good. When we're modeling people, we get the uncanny valley, but when you're modeling like objects like cars, I mean, you can basically get it looking real. So yeah, I could definitely see that in the future, more people moving offline for that sort of thing. And yeah, and then schools and stuff like that,
I think
so I was like, no, please no.
I need them to go. No school online, no school offline, please.
No school
biggest
online.
hindrance is VR. VR is just like if you're living in a hot country like we do, it is hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I played my Samsung VR for like 45 minutes one time, and my brown face was like strawberry red. How do you mix brown and red together? That's very difficult. So I think it's you need cheap electricity. We've got affordable VR now. Facebook's taking care of that. But cheap electricity, because you need cooling, you need you need VR that works in tiny spaces. So it's there's a lot of technical challenges, but if they do it, I mean, yeah. And then I think that would help. So like people like me, I don't know, maybe like people like you guys, but people like me, I'm very comfortable, more productive at home. But people like my older brother, who's more productive when he's around other people, maybe this is the solution for them to say, okay, I need that social interaction in order to be the best possible self that I am.
I think that's also kind of like how they say don't keep a TV in your bedroom, because if you associate, entertainment with the bedroom, then it's harder to sleep. So they say, separate the environments. So like I've heard people say if you want to work from home, it's better to have a home office than to work in your living room, because if you're working in your living room, then when you're working, you can't 100% focus on work because you're too relaxed, because that's your living room. But when you're not working, you can't fully relax because you feel like you should be working. So they say it's better to have a home office where when you walk into that room, you get into that mindset, I need to work. And then when you're not in the room, you're like, okay, this is my relaxing space. And so I've heard that, for some people, being in an office will make them much more productive, because they have that kind of headspace of this is my work area. And I think having a virtual environment, where you can just, it psychologically puts you in that state of mind, I'm working right now.